Welcome, everyone, to the NoDQ.com live recap of Monday Night Raw for July 28th, 2025, the final Raw episode before WWE SummerSlam in New Jersey. Now, let's talk about the final show heading into the biggest party of the summer. GVAC19 sent in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. Says, should they make the tag team match, which is Roman Reigns and Jey Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, tribal combat? No, for two reasons. Number one, we're 6 days away from the match. And number two, we already have several stipulation matches on the card. You really don't need tribal combat on top of a street fight and the other stipulations that they have at SummerSlam. We'll talk more about Roman Reigns in just a little bit, but first, we opened up Raw similar to SmackDown with a tribute to the late, great Hulk Hogan. We had the wrestlers standing out by the entranceway. This week, Eric Bischoff was there. He was unable to make the show on Friday. Hogan's son, Nick, was there. Abyss, Chris Parks was there. CM Punk, because he's on Monday Night Raw, was in the front row of this, which was very interesting considering how Punk has been very vocal about his dislike of Hulk Hogan. And he did not look pleased to be there. He looked like a guy who was there at gunpoint, like they had a gun to the back of his head and they're like, go out there and mourn Hulk Hogan. I mean, that's how it came off to me. I did not see Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods. Naomi was there, and interestingly enough, she was in red and yellow. Now, was this a legitimate tribute to Hulk Hogan, or was she trolling? Was she wearing red and yellow because she's a heel and she wants people to boo her and not like her? There's layers to this. I'm not really sure what Naomi's intentions were with the red and yellow, but they did the 10-bell salute. The fans in Detroit were very respectful, like the fans in Cleveland were. And Dominic too. Yes, Dominic was chewing his gum and just looking around, did not seem very interested in what was going on or acting like he cared too much. He seemed like he was indifferent to the whole thing. All right, we had the start of the show. Oh, by the way, there was also a Hulk Hogan video package, which, as usual, WWE does a fantastic job with those videos. We even got a little Vince cameo in one of the still images. Nicely done by WWE. Jey Uso came to the ring for a promo to hype up SummerSlam. However, he was quickly interrupted by Paul Heyman. Now, this was a long-winded promo, a rare lackluster promo from Heyman, in my opinion. It was essentially Heyman's trying to stir the pot and get Roman and Jey against each other, saying that family's always going to let you down. Reigns didn't pick Jey, but he picked Solo instead. My problem with this is I felt like Heyman was just going on and on and on to get to the point. I feel like he was told, go out there and talk for 5 minutes about how Roman and Jey are not going to work out and Roman can't be trusted. So Heyman stretched it out as long as he possibly could. I don't know. I wasn't really feeling it. I think it was a rare miss for a Paul Heyman promo. And then the crowd was into it, though. They were chanting bullshit because Heyman said he loves Jey and he loves Jey like family. And then Jey said whatever happens at SummerSlam, it's on Paul Heyman. And then Jey was like, we're going to run this shit back. And he had his encore that was interrupted by Paul Heyman. Jey just dropping the profanity, but that was funny. Segment overall, though, just filler. Not much to it. They're hyping up the main event, and we'll talk more about Roman Reigns here shortly. Let's get to the action. Our first match of the evening was AJ Styles and the Kabuki Warriors against Raquel, Roxanne, and Dominic Mysterio. A mixed person, 6-person tag team match. Of course, Dominic tagged out, refused to get in there with AJ. It's the usual shtick. And during the match, Dominic was helping out Roxanne, pulling her to safety from a Kairi Sane attack. And then later on, Roxanne would stand in front of Dominic when AJ Styles was going for the phenomenal forearm. But then Asuka came back in, and Styles took Kairi and launched her over the top rope onto Raquel. And then Styles was able to hit the phenomenal forearm on Dominic and pick up the 1-2-3 victory, which to me is a very obvious sign of who is going to win at SummerSlam. But we'll talk about that when we do our predictions for SummerSlam Night 2, SummerSlam Sunday. That will be Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific time. So tune in for that. And yes, Detroit was a very good crowd. They were full. WWE packed the place with the outrageous prices. I even looked on there. I was curious. I was slightly considering going, but when I saw that the cheap seats were about $100, I was like, nah, I'm good. But hey, hats off to WWE. They're charging a lot of money for these tickets, and they're selling them. So more power to them. I enjoyed watching it at the comfort of my own home. The only thing I would have missed out on was Mom's Spaghetti. I love Mom's Spaghetti in Detroit. That's one of my stops now. We had Sheamus backstage, and he had a little confrontation with Big G, gimmick infringement or name infringement, and the New Day, because no DQ has a Big G. And Sheamus challenged Big G, Grayson Waller, to a match, and Waller accepted, but then the New Day, they were standing behind him, but then they just disappeared. We had a match, Grayson Waller versus Sheamus. It was good. Standard Raw match here. Back and forth a little bit. And then Rusev came out when Sheamus was in control, but despite Rusev's interference, Sheamus got the win with the bro kick. However, Rusev immediately attacked him after the match and beat him up with the shillelagh, put him in the accolade. Officials had to come out there. They did confirm there will be a third match on Raw next week. Man, they just got to stretch this out to Paris, because I think that match in Paris would be a great PLE match. Like, that would be money. I don't know if they're going to be able to keep it going for that long, but I'd like to see it in Paris. They are doing it next week, though. So there you go. Maybe there'll be a team by the time we get to Paris. Who knows? And it'll be Bar 2.0. Part of me thinks that's where this is going. Like, they're going to end up being teammates just like Sheamus and Cesaro were. Backstage, Naomi cut a promo. She's the women's world champion, and she's going to prove all the haters wrong at SummerSlam. And then we had a Hulk Hogan video with various people talking. AJ Styles, Logan Paul, Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Tough Guy, Jimmy Hart, of course, Natalya, Jey Uso, Miz, and Cody Rhodes. It was a nice little video here for Hulk Hogan. I liked it. And then Paul Heyman and Braun Breaker were giving a pep talk to Bronson Reed for the Jey Uso match. And Braun Breaker told Heyman that he had a plan, i.e., he's going to interfere in the main event. But we'll get to that in just a little bit. Lyra Valkyria came to the ring for a promo. And before she even came out there, I'm like, why do they keep giving her mic time? She's just not excelling in that area. And sure enough, she cut another weak promo, in my opinion. She was talking about wearing these Becky stompers. Problem is she has like no charisma to pull this off. She's a really good wrestler, but she doesn't have a whole lot of charisma and her mic skills. She just doesn't have that confidence on the mic. Maybe she'll get there eventually, but perhaps that's why they keep giving her mic time, because they want her to get good, and the only way to get good is to keep doing it. But yeah, it was kind of rough, and she even said in 2 weeks, even though SummerSlam is this coming weekend. Becky Lynch then showed up and was on the outside of the ring with a kendo stick, but Lyra was ready for her, and Becky ended up retreating. Basic stuff here to set up SummerSlam, kind of filler. Didn't really do anything for me one way or another to get me more excited for their match. It was just a random filler segment, in my opinion. We had a sit-down interview with Sami Zayn, and he said he wants to be done with Karrion Kross so he can focus on the world title. Karrion Kross interrupted, and he wants Zayn to say that he was telling the truth. And Sami Zayn was wrong. And Zayn said, if that's the case and Kross wins, he'll say whatever Kross wants. But Zayn said if he wins, he wants Kross to say that he was wrong. So that's the hook for this match. The loser has to say the other one was right and he was wrong. I don't know. I'm not really feeling this one either. I don't care about the whole tell them the truth, Sammy. Tell them I'm right, blah, blah, blah. It's just not interesting to me. I feel like they could be doing something more with Kross, but for what this is, meh, I'm just not caring about it that much. Next up, we had an 8-woman tag team match. Naomi and the Secret Hervice, which is Chelsea Green, Piper Niven, and Alba Fire, against the all-star babyface team of Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Stephanie McMahon, Stephanie Vaquer. Wow, first time I did that screw up. And Nikki Bella. That's exactly why Vince didn't like people having the same name on the show, because of the mix-ups. That was one of the few, well, more than a few. Vince had quite a few, but that was one of the Vince ideas that I think was logical and made sense. Like, you don't want two people having the same name, because then you're going to start mixing up. Look at Michael Cole. He keeps saying Candice LeRae, Candice Michelle, that sort of thing. You want to try to avoid that. I went off on a little tangent there. Let's get back to the match. I like the all-star team, Nikki Bella, Stephanie, Io, and Rhea. But to me, as soon as I saw this lineup, I'm like, okay, Secret Hervice is there, so the baby faces are obviously winning. Kind of anticlimactic to me, but match was fine. It was good for what it was. The bad girls did get in the upper hand for a while, and then Stephanie Vaquer came in there and built up some momentum. She did the devil's kiss, and Naomi tried to walk out with her title, but she was stopped. And then Piper Niven came in and took out Nikki and Io, but then Rhea got back in the mix, gave Piper the riptide, and then Stephanie hit the SVP and pinned Chelsea Green. Yeah, it was fine for what it was. And then backstage, Io Sky said that Rhea has never beat her and never will. And that was the final setup for SummerSlam, which was all right. Nothing special. It was decent. We had Bayley backstage. Bayley's upset. She's lost her opportunities. She missed WrestleMania, and she's missing SummerSlam. And she's at a loss for words, and she walked off. But we could very well see her at SummerSlam. Maybe she costs Lyra the match. Time will tell. I mean, I definitely feel like that heel turn is coming very soon. We had Finn Bálor giving a pep talk to the Judgment Day, and he said that they're still going despite people writing them off. They have the titles, and he went to the ring. Him and JD went for their tag title match, and Raquel gave Dominic a Nintendo Switch 2 so he could play WWE 2K25, or I think Roxanne did. One of them did. I think Raquel said that Liv also liked the Switch, but yeah, they're continuing to keep Liv in the storylines even though she's gone. By the way, I did start playing WWE 2K25 on Switch 2, and so far no technical issues with it, but I'm going to sound like an old person. Trying to figure out the controls is a bit of a challenge. Like, I really don't know what the hell I'm doing with that game just yet, but I'm going to keep at it, and maybe I'll put up a video in the next couple of weeks and maybe do some streaming with WWE 2K25. Anyways, we got a tag team title match, Judgment Day versus LWO. Filler match. I mean, come on. LWO's not winning the tag team titles. This is just a waste of our time. But yeah, they get their offense in. You know, they're doing pretty good. Cruz did a coast to coast to McDonagh and came off the top with a Phoenix splash to Bálor, but McDonagh broke up the pin. And then we had the interference. El Grande Americano got on the apron. Dragon Lee attacked him. And then Joaquin Wilde came in, did a dive to McDonagh. And then Del Toro went back up to the top. But then we had another masked wrestler show up and knock Del Toro off the apron. I wasn't sure who it was, but according to X, it was Pete Dunne. That's what the streets are saying. It was Pete Dunne, apparently. I don't know that for a fact, but wouldn't shock me if it was him. The guy was relatively short. And then Bálor, of course, pinned Del Toro. No surprise here whatsoever. Tag champs retain. I didn't care too much about the match. I'm not really sure where this is going now with the other masked guy, but maybe we're going to have two El Grande Americanos. Maybe we're going to have all the guys that are not getting TV time are going to turn into luchadors. I don't know where this is going. Shout out to Dave Scheffler, who sent in a $5 super chat. Thank you for that. Much appreciated. Dave says Bayley is definitely turning soon. She had a dark match after SmackDown with Lyra and was acting like a heel. Yes, she was. She was very heelish, complaining about her lack of a SummerSlam match. If you guys missed that video, you could check it out over on NoDQ.com. It's just a matter of time. And it wouldn't shock me if she turns officially at SummerSlam. But we'll talk about that possibility Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, when we do our predictions for the second night of SummerSlam. Gunther, the World Heavyweight Champion, came to the ring for a promo, and he talked about leaving the voice of the voiceless speechless last week. Crowd was chanting, "You tapped out" at him. He's never going to hear the end of that now. Good job, Triple H. You had him tap out to Jey, and now fans will always be chanting, "You tap out" at this guy who's supposed to be your monster heel. CM Punk came out there. Of course he did. And he said he doesn't want to be champion. He needs to be champion. He said he earned the right to call himself the best in the world. He said wrestling is his addiction. And Gunther tried to respond, but Punk stopped him. And Punk said that Gunther is not on his level and he's going to lose this weekend at SummerSlam. It was a good promo from Punk, but again, very standard stuff here. Nothing out of the ordinary for me, at least. It was just an average CM Punk promo, which is still better than most, but nothing too crazy in my opinion. Just your standard segment. Maybe slightly increased my hype for the match. Not that much though. I think it was relatively ineffective. We had our main event of the evening, which was Jey Uso versus Bronson Reed. Jey got the early momentum, but then Reed took control, did the world's strongest slam. And then after the commercial break, Jey started to make his comeback, and guess who showed up? What a shocker. Braun Breaker appeared. I didn't care about this match because I knew, number one, Braun Breaker was coming out there, and number two, I knew Roman Reigns was showing up. I mean, here's the thing. Like, it's not even a surprise. On WWE.com, they were advertising Roman Reigns to show up and be in a segment on the show. So it's like you're just waiting. You're sitting there waiting for Roman Reigns to show up. And what's the point of even doing a match when you know Braun Breaker's coming out there and then Roman Reigns is coming out there? Just get to the point. Just get the guys out there and do your angle and be done with it. Like, we didn't even need a damn match because we knew Roman Reigns was showing up and they were going to just do the post-match angle. So I didn't care about the match whatsoever. To me, it was just time filler. Roman, of course, came out there and they had the big brawl. But then as Roman and Jey were going for spears, Braun and Bronson countered them. They did the tsunami to both Jey and Reigns. And then Braun Breaker did his trash talking. He said that it's his ring now, and they're his people. The fat asses in the crowd are his people. The cameraman is his cameraman. And then Braun went to the outside and speared both Roman Reigns and Jey Uso through the barricade. Now, this was all mean, awful stuff from Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. But the worst thing they did, Bronson Reed stole Roman Reigns' sneakers. That son of a bitch. That is crossing a line you just don't cross. You take Roman Reigns' sneakers off his feet. How evil is that? Man, Bronson Reed, what a bastard for doing that. Taking those $300 or $400 sneakers from Roman Reigns. That is the heelish of heel moves right there. I have to say, this was the highlight of the show. I loved that, him taking the sneakers. To me, that was more impactful than the entire beatdown, because you know Roman Reigns loves his sneakers, you know, those nice shiny white sneakers. And Bronson Reed just takes him off and holds him up like a trophy. Like, I think that was the most effective thing on the entire show. So I really liked the ending of that. That was easily the best thing on Raw. And it was the end of the show too. So thumbs up for that. Good angle. Now, we already did our predictions for the tag match on the Sunday night stream. Check it out if you missed it. We did the SummerSlam Saturday predictions. And I picked Roman Reigns to win. And guess what? I'm still picking Roman Reigns to win now, especially after that. You know, they got the big beat down on the go home. And I think Roman will get his revenge come WrestleMania Saturday. Overall, though, I hate to say it, because I really want to like SummerSlam and be hyped for the show, but I thought this was a pretty lackluster run-of-the-mill episode of Monday Night Raw. Like, it did not hold my attention that much, and I look at the segments, and there really wasn't much that got me more hyped for the show. And to me, when I'm critiquing the go-home episode, like, I want to feel excited for SummerSlam, and it's not really there for me. Like, the shoes was like the one thing that I thought, yeah, now it's personal. Now Bronson Reed has really gone over the edge with Roman Reigns. But beyond that, like, nothing really got me excited for any of the matches on the show. Like, I think it was just a lot of time filler, and they didn't really do any heavy angles on the show to really get people like, oh my God, I'm so hyped for this match. I'm just not feeling it. So I think it was a little bit below par. I liked the crowd. Detroit, they were a very good crowd. So that helped a little bit, but to me, it wasn't enough. I'm going 4 out of 10 for Monday Night Raw. I actually think it was one of the weaker Netflix Raws. I just didn't get into it all that much. It was a letdown for sure. Yes, the AEW fans criticizing me. I mean, there you go. If WWE puts on a bland show, I'm going to call them out on it. AEW puts on a bland show, I'm going to call them out on it. I want to be on the edge of my seat. And to me, this show, totally skippable. Like, it really did nothing. Like, if you had skipped this Raw and just went straight to SummerSlam, you'd be fine. Like, you did not need to watch really anything from this show other than the sneaker segment. And the Hogan tributes, I thought were very well done too, but you could just watch that on YouTube. No need to sit and watch this 2 hour and 40-minute show. You didn't need to. 4 out of 10. That's all I got for this week. We got one more show before SummerSlam. We got SmackDown, John Cena and Cody Rhodes under the same roof again. You know, more the usual build, but maybe they'll have a killer promo. We'll see what they do. Take care, everybody. Enjoy your week. We got the No DQ review. I'm sure we'll be talking more about SummerSlam there. And then, of course, Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, we'll be doing our SummerSlam Sunday predictions. Tune in for that. Say yes to NoDQ.com, and I will see you all next time.